Hi, everyone.
Oy, 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 oy. Weet je, Mashiach kommen zu mir nicht kommen. Wir dürfen jetzt suchen.
Okay, jetzt gehen wir lernen. Be'ezus Hashem. Today's daf is Masechta Bava Kamma daf Pei Beis. And we're going to
Bei Beis.
Beis, 82. And we're going to start from Pei Aleph Umid Beis. Umeis Mitzvah Koinim Akoimai. I didn't highlight it, but Umeis Mitzvah Koinim Akoimai. Right here towards Pei Aleph Umid Beis, a little before the lines get wider at the bottom. We learned the Gemara is dealing with the 10 things that Yeshua made a bill of rights. So as these are special halachas that Yeshua made a condition. Everybody has to agree to these laws because this is the condition that Yeshua gave over Eretz Yisrael to the Jewish people. One of the mitzvah is umeis mitzvah konim akoimai. If somebody dies, wherever he dies in that place. That place underneath him belongs to him, and the owner of the field can't say, let him go, take his body away, let him go somewhere else. No, if a person died in that place, he acquired that place. Says the Gemara, I'm going to ask you a question. If you find somebody passed away, he's laying in a Rishus Harabim, in a public fair. So mafaneu, here it is. You should move him. Liyamin Isratia or Lismoil Isratia. Move him either to the right of the Rishus Harabim or to the left of the Rishus Harabim. If the right side, one of the sides has a stay bore, an unplowed field. One of the sides has a stay near, a plowed field. Mifaneu bore, you put him into the unplowed field. Stay zera. If you have a choice to put him in a plowed field and one field that was seeded. You put him in the plowed field. If they were both unplowed, if they're both plowed, they're both seeded. You can put him wherever you want. So, but the point is that as soon as he dies in the Rishus Harabim, you don't say you bury him in the Rishus Harabim. You have to find another place for him. So how do you say Meis Mitzvah Koinam Akoimai? And says the Gemara, Amra Beba Bebetel al Hametzah, that the Meis Mitzvah, this Meis Mitzvah was blocking the entire road. If you buried him on the road, then Kahanim can never pass this road. It's too... Since you already have to move him because of the Kahanim, you can move him wherever you want. Says the Gemara, Amre, you just said Asara. You said there's 10 things Yeshua made. These are 10 halachas, 10 takonas Yeshua made. If I count them up, there's actually 11 there. Answers the Gemara, to take a shortcut in somebody's property, that wasn't Yeshua's invention. That was Shlomo HaMelech. Kedetanya, we learned in the Brisa. If a person harvested all the produce in his field, so his field is empty, but he's like a targa. And he doesn't let anybody come into his field. What are people going to say about such a person? He's such a he's such a difficult person. What benefit do we have with this person? And how could people damage him if they walk in his field? What's wrong? All of our the pasuk says, if you have a choice to do good, don't try to do something that people are saying you're bad. I mean, if it doesn't cost you much, let people take a shortcut through your property. So the Gemara asks the question, first as a side point, is there such a pasuk that says Miyois Toiv al Tikri Ra? So the Gemara says, and yes, there is such a pasuk, a similar pasuk. It says a pasuk in Mishlei, don't hold yourself bad from doing good when you have the power to do so. If it doesn't cost you much, do somebody a favor. So this one was Shlomo HaMelech did, and therefore it's not counted as one of the 10 that Yeshua instituted. Says the Gemara of Asu Leika, is there not another thing that Yeshua made up? Well, there's another, the Rabbi Huda. Rabbi Huda pointed out another takana Yeshua made. Tanya, we learned Rabbi Huda says, when at the end of the season, when you want to get rid of all the sewage of your house, you're allowed to put the sewage into the Rishus Harabim. And leave it there, piled up, the sewage, all 30.
Yeah.
Why does a person put his sewage in the Rishus Harabim? Because when Kadeshe Nisha Bragli Odom Bragli Behema, so people should still trample on it. And therefore, by people trampling on it, they're actually doing you a favor because they're making fertilizer out of your sewage. Shalmanas Kain, Yeshua gave permission that everybody has a right to do that. Shalmanas Kain, Hilcha Yeshua Yisrael Es Aretz. On this condition, Yeshua gave the Jewish people Eretz Yisrael. So everybody sort of accepted this rule. So this rule wasn't mentioned as one of the 10. So why don't we mention this case of Rabbi there is another situation of Rabbi Shmuel, the son of Rabbi Yochanan ben Roika. He said another thing Yeshua did. The Tanya, we learned in the Brayso, Rabbi Shmuel ben Yochanan ben Roika, Omer, Tanai Bezdin who, Yeshua made a condition that what? Let's say a person had he's a bee, he raises bees, and all his bees went on the branch of his friend's field. You have a right to cut that, go into your friend's field, cut that branch off, but you pay your friend back from the honey of those bees. You took his branch, so you pay him back. But the guy where the bees landed on can't stop you. He says, "Don't enter my field. Don't cut my tree down." No, this is a situation where the bee raiser, the one that raised the bees, has a right to cut the branch off. Or Tanai Bezinhu. Another situation is a person sees that somebody was carrying honey. He split his let's say the barrel that he was carrying, and now the honey's leaking out, and you're carrying wine. You should spill out your wine to help him catch his expensive honey. Honey is more expensive than wine. And you force the guy to pay you back for losing your wine from the honey that you saved him. And it's another condition. Let's say, that means, let's say your friend is carrying flax, expensive flax on his donkey, and all of a sudden his donkey collapsed, and you're just carrying wood. You have to get rid of the wood on your donkey and load the flax from his donkey onto your donkey. And then you lost some wood, make him pay you back from his flax. But these are common sense helping somebody who's about to sustain a massive loss if you don't help him. On this, you accept this condition, then you can get Eretz Yisrael. So we see a couple of other T'nai Bezins that were mentioned by Rabbi Shmuel and mentioned by Rabbi Yehuda that were not counted as the 10 takonas that Yeshua gave over to the Jewish people when he gave them Eretz Yisrael. So why didn't we mention these couple? And says the Gemara, these were mentioned by Tanoim, but not, they were mentioned by individual Tanoim, but not anonymously said by all the Tanoim. So therefore, we didn't count that in. Says the base. But also, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Oven said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Echad ilan hanoitel soich sadei shachaverai, ve'echad ilan somach hameitza, maybe v'koresh hamanas kein hilcha Yeshua es Yisrael sa'aretz. There's another case. If bikurim has to be brought, if you bring bikurim from the new fruits of your tree, the tree has to grow totally on your property. Let's say you have a tree, because it says Reishis B'Kuriyat Moscha. If it grows from your tree that grew from your land, you bring Pegurim. Let's say you have a tree that's very close to somebody's the border. You shear the tree is by your border, but it's nourishing itself from your friend's property. Still, Yeshua said you bring B'Kurim, and you can read the Parsha of B'Kurim when you bring it, even though this tree is not totally being nourished from your property. Yeshua said that people shouldn't be makbid, shouldn't be, hold their friend if just because their tree is nourishing from their property. You should be easygoing about it. That's the whole point of all these Yeshua deals, is that we want there to be shalom with each other, and therefore he made all these takanas to prevent fights. So how come we didn't mention this one? So the Gemara says this one is mentioned in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Elman Tana Yasara Tanayin Shisna Yeshua. Who is the Tana that Yeshua that said there were 10 conditions that Yeshua Tanoim that Yeshua gave over to Bnei Yisrael when he gave them Eretz Yisrael. Who gives that number 10? Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. That was Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. And Rabbi Yochanan can argue against Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi because Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is an Amoira. So Rabbi Yochanan holds there was 11, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi holds there were 10. Says the Gemara, we finished the sugya. Rav Gviya mebei Kisil masel lo behedya. Rav Gviya from Kisil, he has the brisa saying it like this: Rav Tamchem, Rav Brayas, Amram Shem Zuken Echad. Rav Tamchem, Rav Brayas said over in the name of one old man, Umani Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Who is this Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi? Or Surah Tanai in history Yeshua. It was Yeshua ben Levi who actually gave the number 10. But if you search and look different Amaroyim and Tanaim, you'll find that there's more numbers there. Now the Gemara says, once you're talking about the number 10, Eser Takonas Tikin Ezra. There are 10 rules, 10 edicts that Ezra, when he came and helped bring the people back to Eretz Yisrael to build the second base of Mikdash, he made 10 things that we should do. What are the 10 things that Ezra made up? Shekarim b'mincha b'Shabbos. On Shabbos Mincha, we read the Sefer Torah, even though you read the Sefer Torah in the Shabbos morning. V'karim b'sheni v'chamishi, and you should read the Torah on Monday and Thursday. V'dana b'sheni v'chamishi, and the courts should be open on Monday and Thursday. Umechapsim b'chamishi b'Shabbos, and you should wash your clothing not on Friday but on Thursdays. We're going to see all this. The Gemara is going to explain everything. V'oichlin shum b'erev Shabbos, and one should eat garlic. Let's say on Friday or Friday night, you should eat roasted garlic. B'shetei isha mashkemes v'oifa, a woman should get up early on Friday morning and bake challah. V'shetei isha chageres b'sina, and she should have like a sort of an apron underneath her for tznius. That woman should put on the sinar. Isha, a woman, before she goes to the mikveh, should comb her hair. And the peddlers should go around the city selling perfume. And he also made that once someone has a seminal emission, he should go to the mikveh. So these are the 10 things that Ezra made up. And now the Gemara is going to examine each one of them. The first thing we mentioned, Shehei Korim b'mincha b'Shabbos. Ezra made up that despite that you heard the Sefer Torah being read Shabbos morning, the Shabbos Mincha, you read the Torah again. Why did he do that? Answers the Gemara, Mishum Yoshvei Karanis, because people who sit in the store, people who were unlearned, and therefore Shabbos afternoon, they were going to schmooze around, not do anything. So in order for them to hear some Torah, so therefore he actually had them read the Torah again by Shabbos Mincha. Furthermore, the people who ran the stores did not come to shul all week. I knew people like that. They came on Shabbos, and therefore they're going to go not hear the Torah being read on Monday and Thursday. So we made an extra Torah reading for them on Mincha Shabbos afternoon. And then, and then we should read the Torah on Monday and Thursday. Ezra made that up. Says the Gemara, Ezra Tikin. Did Ezra make that up? This is an earlier thing. It appears in the Torah that you should read the Torah Monday and Thursday. The Tanya we learned in the Brisa, and this week's Sedra. They went for 3 days, and the Jews didn't discover water. People who search out Ramazim with trying to find out where is the source that the Nevi'im, not Ezra, but the Nevi'im came up that we should read the Torah every 3 days. We shouldn't go 3 days without reading the Torah, because it says in Chumash that the Jews went for 3 days in the desert and they didn't find water. Ein mayim ela Torah. The water is referred to water, Torah. We have to see why. But water is like a nickname for Torah. In Yeshaya it says, if you're thirsty, go drink water. So, since the Jews went at that time with for 3 days, without Torah, Nilu, they got tired, right? They didn't know what to do with themselves. So the Nevi'im amongst them came up with this idea. They should read the Torah on Shabbos, and you don't read it on Sunday. And you read it on Monday, and you don't read the Torah on Tuesday and Wednesday. And you read it on Thursday. Shabbos, and then on Friday you don't read the Torah. So you shouldn't go to sleep and have 3 nights of sleeping without reading from the Torah. So how could you say Ezra made it up? Here it says the Nevi'im made it up. Answers the Gemara, the Nevi'im made up that one person should read 3 psukim in the Torah. Iname plus the Gavra, you call up 3 people plus a psuke, they read 3 psukim. Keneged Kahanim Levim Israelim. But it was a very short reading of the Torah on Monday and Thursdays that the Nevi'im made up. But Ezra came and enhanced it. Azahu Tiken, he came and came up and said, this is what should be done. Plus a Gavra, you call up 3 people. The minimum is Vasar Psukim, you read 10 Psukim. Keneged Asar Batlonim, to correspond to the 10 people that are paid by the community to be around the shuls. And they're always there to, the Chaverim and the Hatzalah people and all the people who are around the neighborhood, to Koila people. So because of that, to remind ourselves how important they are for a community. So the Torah was read to correspond to the 10 people. So that's why you read 10 psukim and you call up a kohen Levi Yisrael. And that was Ezra enhancing the original takana of the Nevi'im. Done in B'Sheni V'Chamishi, you open the courts on Monday and Thursday. Why? The shchichi, the asli lemikri b'sifra, because people are around to hear the Torah reading on Monday and Thursday. So that's the perfect day to have the courts open. You just not to keep it open haphazardly, depending on need, but just have set times that it should be open for sure, even if it's a quiet day. Why should you wash your clothing on Thursday? Because Kavod Shabbos, washing clothing, it takes a lot of time, especially if you didn't have a washing machine. So you get started with that on Thursday. By the time your clothes dry out, probably it's Friday night, so you could put it on, and Friday you could be busy preparing the food for Shabbos. That was Ezra's takana. Then Ezra said, one should eat Friday night or Friday. You should eat garlic. Now, why should you eat garlic? Answers the Gemara, Mishum Oina. Garlic increases the semen count. So therefore, it increases zera. So therefore, most people should have Friday night intimate relations with their wife. The pasuk says, "Ashapir yitem beitoy." V'amar Rabbi Yehuda v'temer Rav Nachman v'temer Rav Kahana v'temer Rav Yochanan. So all this comes down to Rabbi Yochanan said that it's important. The important is to have intimate relations from Friday to Friday. So to help out, to have a positive experience, he required that everybody should eat garlic. Probably it's roasted garlic, because regular raw garlic is not so beneficial in this regard. So Tanur, and that's the minik. Tanur Rabbanan, Chamisha Devarim Nembushum. There are 5 things, positive benefits that are said by garlic. Okay, what are the 5 benefits of garlic? Masbia, it makes you don't need to take Ozempic. It makes you feel full. Umashchin, it keeps you warm. Umatzil panim, it gives you a good glow on your face. Umar be'zera, it increases semen. V'hoirikinim shebebnei mayim, and it kills off microbes in your intestines. Bacteria. Others say machnis ahava moitzisakina. It's an antidepressant, which means it makes you love people and takes away your jealousy of people. So it's a very good, important food item. Shum, you have that into your diet. That's why they eat gefilte fish on Shabbos. If Pearson has a problem eating garlic, well, the gefilte fish that they have has garlic in it. So you get the mila of fish and the mila of garlic. The advantage of garlic both increase the semen count. A woman should get up early and bake challahs. So you have bread, challah for the poor people, so you can readily give them food for Shabbos. She should put on an apron, because of modesty. She should comb her hair and then go to the mikvah. Frank the Gemara, combing your hair to go to the mikvah, isn't that min Torah? The Tanya we learned in the Braytza, you should go into the mikvah. You shouldn't go into the mikvah when you have a chatzitza, something that interrupts your body to the water. As a tafel b'sari. Even when you're toivel, when you toivel your hair, there should be no chatzitza. Chatzitza again is something that interrupts the water from reaching your hair. So midaraisa, you should make sure that there's no knots in your hair and there's no gum in your hair when you go to the mikveh. So what was Ezra's takana? Answers the Gemara, Amri, so the yeshiva answered, Daraisa, midaraisa la unidim mikta. All you have to do is check to see if you have any knots, loosen any knots in your hair. Iname mois mid. If you find something repulsive in the hair, mishum chatzitza, because of the separation between the water and your hair, you have to get rid of that. That's midaraisa. We go to Amid Beis, pay Beis Amid Beis. I'll say ihu tikik chafifa, but Ezra made it. You have to do one step further. Comb your hair. This is a very important thing that Ezra added to make an enhanced inspection for chatzitza. Then Ezra said, "You should have peddlers go out and sell perfume in the streets. Why? Because women need perfume. This blinks to shalom bayis when a woman smells nicely, and therefore he stopped the Frum police from disallowing these peddlers from selling perfumes. It's very important that perfume should be readily available wherever Jews live in Eretz Yisrael. The tikkun tvila l'balkari. If a person has a seminal admission, he should go to the mikveh. Says the Gemara, the Torah says, if you have a seminal admission, you have to go to the mikveh. So what did Ezra come? Answers the Gemara, Deraisa hu l'truma kachim. Deraisa was for truma and kachim. That if you want to eat truma and kachim, you have to go to the mikveh. But also who utikin afilu divrei Torah. And Ezra came up that if you want to learn Torah, then you have to go to the mikveh if you have a seminal admission. So that was Ezra's takana. Of course, this was not kept. This is the only takana that I guess that a lot of people didn't keep. This takana. It was a very difficult takana to keep. That every time you have your balkari, you have to find a mikveh to go to. So they did away with that. But Chassidim are noyig to do it. And some people go to the mikveh even not when they're balkari, just for an increase of kedusha. Okay, so that was Ezra. Now they go to another thing. Asara Devarim Nemar Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim has 10 things about it. Ein habayis cholet ba. Ein habayis cholet ba. That means that when a person sells a house, normally in a walled city, year to redeem it. If he doesn't redeem it to the year, it absolutely belongs to the purchaser. Here, Yerushalayim does not get given over to the purchaser. If you buy a house in Yerushalayim, even after a year, you can redeem. If you sell a house in Yerushalayim, even after a year, you have a right to redeem it back. Okay, because in other walled cities, if you sell a house, you only have 1 year to redeem it back. In Yerushalayim, you have much more time. And you don't bring the egla rufa. If we don't, the story of the egla rufa is that if you don't know who killed somebody and you find him on the road, if the dead body was very near Jerusalem, so they wouldn't bring an egla rufa from Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem is exempt from egla rufa. Yerushalayim does not become a destructive city. In other words, we know in the Chumash it says that if most of the people of a certain city worshipped Avodah Zarah, you're supposed to destroy the city. And women, you can't have you can't benefit from anything of the city. You got to just totally raise the whole city to the ground. Here, Yerushalayim, if most of the people started doing Avodah Zarah, then you wouldn't make it an Ir Hanidachas. You would punish each person individually, but not the whole city at one shot. It doesn't become tameh with a nega. A nega in the house doesn't exist in Jerusalem. And you don't build houses that have protruding porches on it. We're going to see all this. You don't make garbage there. You don't make garbage piles there. You don't make outdoor furnaces there. You don't make gardens and vegetable gardens and fruit gardens, except the rose gardens, that those were there from the times of the early Nevi'im. There, they allowed that one to stay. But to make ginas and pardeses, to make other beautiful gardens, you don't do that. And in Jerusalem, you don't have chickens. No one is allowed to raise chickens in Jerusalem. And you don't overnight a dead person. If somebody dies in Jerusalem, you have to bury him right away. Now the Gemara explains all these things. Ein habayis cholet law. There's the batei arei halachas don't exist in Yerushalayim. Normally, in a walled city, the purchaser can keep the house if the seller did not redeem the house within the year. But Jerusalem, you have more time because of Kasava, like Nischalki Yerushalayim Shvatim. Jerusalem was not given over to other Shvatim. In other words, Jerusalem was they gave the right to live there, but every Shevet has a part of Jerusalem. It didn't belong to any one Shevet in particular. Again, Yerushalayim was not given over to Shvatim, so therefore there's no Egla Rufa. Egla Rufa is only if a city belonged to a certain Shevet. Same idea. It doesn't become a Ir Anidachas because the Torah talks about Ir Anidachas only if it's a city belonging to a certain Shevet. But Yerushalayim again was like belongs to everyone. Negets Ras only applies in a house belonging to a certain Shevet, in a house belonging to a person who lives within a certain Shevet. But Yerushalayim was not divided up to any Shvatim. They don't put porches outside, sticking out of houses, because perhaps there's going to be a little kazayas, of a mace underneath the porch, and Jerusalem had a lot of visitors, and maybe there's a kohen on his way to the Beis Hamikdash, or a person who's bringing a carbon on the way to the Beis Hamikdash, and if he goes on to that underneath that protrusion, so him and the mace will be in the same tent, and therefore he'll become tamei. So therefore they put. Now, the zoning did not allow anybody to build a porch in Jerusalem. Then we say, they didn't make garbage there because of rodents, and therefore the shkatzim could be mitama kachim. And in Jerusalem, you're eating a lot of kachim. They don't make kivshainis mishum kutra. You don't make furnaces because it causes a lot of smoke. That smoke intermingles with the smoke in the Beis Hamikdash, and the smoke of the and it blackens the walls of the city. They ain't baginis pardesim mishum sircha. Because it causes a bad odor again, because you have to fertilize a garden, there's sometimes a bad odor there. So we don't make any gardens in Jerusalem. You don't have chickens. No one's allowed to raise a chicken in Jerusalem because a chicken will take a sheretz and be metama the food of somebody else. And you don't overnight a dead person. If somebody dies in Jerusalem, you don't let him. You have to bury him right away. So I would think there's a reason for that. But the Gemara says Gemara. Gemara means that there is no reason. It's just alpi yisoid, a secret. So that's in Jerusalem. These are things that mention Jerusalem. We're going to talk about the rest of the Gemara tomorrow, B'ezras Hashem.